from inside Memorial Stadium. This is the Huskers Radio Network podcast. All Huskers, all the time. Here's your host, Jessica Coody.
Well, Coach Bolt, congratulations on a great season. Have you had a chance to kind of sit back and reflect on everything that this team accomplished yet?
A little bit. I think we had a long bus ride back the next morning, and, you start getting into, we had exit meetings with our players, so you start to think about some things and talk about some things that went on throughout the year, and just reminiscing with some of the seniors at times. Yeah, it was. I think the thing that we take from it is it was a very good year. It actually didn't end the way, obviously, that any of us wanted to. We wanted to go to Omaha. We thought we were that caliber of a team. And we want to make sure that this is not a flash in the pan type deal where everything came together. It was magic, and we just had a great group of guys, but it's our job as coaches to continue this momentum, keep recruiting those type of players, and make sure that we keep moving forward with it.
At the beginning of the year, a lot of the outside noise maybe didn't give you guys much of a chance to compete much in the Big Ten, but what did you guys see in the potential of this baseball team?
Yeah, we were able to use the time off from last season to our advantage, just to try to create the roster a little bit more in our own eyes as coaches. So we knew we needed to get better on the mound. We knew we needed to get more depth just overall. We felt like we had good top-end talent on the roster, but we needed to, supplement that with a lot of, more good players. So, I think coming back in the fall, you could hear some of the older guys who, we had 3 super seniors on this roster that had won Big Ten championship before, and they're all like, Coach, this is the best team we've ever had as far as talent, and just these guys work hard. So you start to hear those things from some of the upperclassmen. You feel like, all right, like we're on the right track, and we had a great fall, and the guys just carried that on to the spring. And I think internally we definitely knew that we were better than what people thought, and that probably drove us a little bit.
Your first season, obviously not ideal, but first full season with you and the staff, why do you feel like you guys were able to get guys to buy in so quickly?
I think just it was a pretty consistent message throughout the entire year. There was no nothing that they ever had to wonder kind of what we were thinking. It was pretty simple. We just asked them to show up and work hard and do it again the next day. And so we would tell them, you're going to be a more consistent ball player personally, individually, and we're going to be a better team if we can just have that mindset. It's going to allow us to keep our emotions in check and just show up and be the same every day. So I think that part of it, they knew exactly what was asked of them, and they weren't wondering. So again, there's no magic pill here. There's no, it's just you show up and work hard and do it again the next day.
Those seniors that you talked about, how instrumental were they to what you guys wanted to establish as a coaching staff? I
mean, huge, especially a new staff transitioning in. Those guys, you talk about the buy-in, it starts with those guys first. They have to believe in what's going on, and they welcomed us immediately, and our communication was great. We decided to have captains for the first time in 20 years here, and I think they took an immense amount of pride in that, and so they wanted to leave it better than they found it, and those guys they're going to be great. When they're done playing, I think they're going to be amazing successes in whatever they do.
You guys, top of the Big Ten and hitting and pitching, but fielding, you kind of established yourself as one of the top defensive teams, not just in the Big Ten, but in the entire country. Why has that become so important to what you want to do?
Probably a little bit. That was when I first started coaching, infield is what I played, and it's what I first started coaching. So I was super passionate about that. Not that I'm not anymore, but I've got Coach Marcuzzo coaches the infielders now and does a great job. But I don't know. I just think you've got to, talk about showing up every day and being consistent. A big part of that is being a good fielding team, because it takes a level of selflessness where you're not worried about your at-bats, or, you may not get the pub, I guess, as a good defender that you would as a good hitter or a good pitcher. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think to play good baseball, you got to play good catch, and we make it a priority, and we want to recruit guys that can do that. And we had a lot of guys on this team that had all those attributes.
Was there a certain point throughout the season that you thought, okay, this team's pretty special? I know you felt like you had talent and potential at the beginning, but, it's one thing to feel like you got it and then to accomplish it.
Yeah, you start to see it in different moments throughout the year that stand out. Games where you maybe get behind and, it'd be easy just to kind of cash it in and say, we'll move on to the next game. And these guys never did that. And then we saw that pretty early on in the year it started the first weekend. We lost the first game of the year and we got walked off, and it was disappointing. And it was one of those things where, like, man, we worked so hard. Why didn't we get the result that we wanted? And to rebound, it was a 4-game series for us to sweep the doubleheader the next day, come out on Sunday and play at a high level. You kind of start to sense it maybe right then. And there were a few other moments throughout the year where we were behind, and you have to play complementary style as well, where if the pitchers aren't great that day, the hitters pick them up, and vice versa. So we started seeing that early on, and they just continued it throughout the year.
Obviously, when you initially won the Big Ten title, it was you had bigger goals in mind after that. So now looking back, how special was it for this team to win that championship?
It was very special. Anytime you can win a conference championship, it means that you're the best, in the league, and our guys wire to wire. The thing I'm probably the most proud of is I think we got into first place maybe in early April, and it was maybe a different feeling for some of the guys, like, oh man, we're in first place now. And aside from one weekend over the course of the entire season, we held on to it. I mean, it was just, we went almost wire to wire, and then, in a weekend where nobody really expected to win the league, we end up doing that at Indiana against some really good pitching, and you look up and we win the league by 3.5 games. Like, there was never a moment where the guys looked ahead or looked behind. It was just, they stayed pretty focused.
So getting to the postseason again, I know you guys thought you had the potential to be playing in Omaha, but that experience, what's the biggest thing some of these young guys can take away from what you guys did in Fayetteville? Yeah,
I think the biggest thing you can take from it is the environment and just the quality of team that we played. You've got 13,000 people screaming against you. You've got to certainly be very focused to do that. And you lose to the number 1 seed nationally. We don't want to give them too much credit because we felt like we were on the same level that they were. But at the same time, you can look at that and go, man, we're pretty close to that as well. So talking about the draw, you got to go beat somebody good regardless. We felt like we probably should have been playing at home, honestly. But if you're going to go anywhere, you better go to a spot where they can see what it looks like. They can see this team's a College World Series type team. This is, you've got this fan base that's just, they're rooting against you. 13,000 people, and our guys, they fought, and they were very resilient.
Yeah, you guys proved that you can compete with the best team, one of the best teams in the country. How does that kind of play into maybe scheduling leading up to conference play next year? How do you kind of play into that and schedule a team that is going to be prepared to, again, go compete for a Big Ten title?
Yeah, that's a great question. This last year was so strange, not having that option. But, I think just we've consistently got to put ourselves in position where our guys are going up against the best preseason, pre-conference, and that gets them resilient and tough. That's really that's been our goal, is to be the toughest team in the country, and we're going to do that every year. We want to be that team, and you got to go play in hostile environments and go play the best, and overcome some adversity.
You guys already hit the ground running, recruiting for the next season. What kind of momentum does this season has it provided for you guys?
Hopefully a lot. We've made it pretty clear as a staff when we came to Nebraska that we're going to start in the state. And I think just hearing some feedback from different coaches around the state, just people that maybe former teammates, those type of things, that how invested the people in the state of Nebraska were behind this team. And everybody loves a winner, but at the same time, you also want to be prideful in how a team plays and be proud of how a team carries himself. And I think that was a thing that I was really proud of our guys, is they played so hard, and they inspired not only a community, a school, but kind of the state of Nebraska. So hopefully we can continue that the buzz throughout the summer on the recruiting trail and show up and do it again.
Yeah, this is my first week in Nebraska, and it's been crazy, just the amount of fan support, the buzz, like you said, around your baseball program. How does that, go into your selling point of, look, there's not many places in the country that buy into baseball like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge part of it, and I could talk about it firsthand when I sit in a parent's living room, a kid's living room, just having played here and been a part of it. And so, yeah, it's so unique here at Nebraska where every single sport, the fans are there, they're supportive. I mean, we're going in stadiums in the Big Ten this year where they're not even allowing fans, and we've got 7,000 people at our games. So this place is amazing. It's certainly one of those things that you don't take for granted ever, especially in a year like this where it's been so strange. But yeah, it's amazing to see how supportive they are of our program and all sports in general.
You talk about building and continuing to build off of what you guys did. What's kind of next? How do you continue to build leading into next season?
Recruiting. I mean, that is in college athletics, a number one priority is just not only getting the talent, because that'll get your foot in the door, but getting the right mix of players and building a roster and those type of things. And you can't rest at all. I mean, it's on to the next one. So we've already dove into that, and that's what you've got to have to be successful and sustain some success.
Last thing I got for you, obviously MLB draft coming up, and you got some guys that potential to go pretty high. What are some of these teams going to get in some of your players?
Well, I mean, you could start with Schwellenbach. Spencer was a special player for us. And I used that in a past tense because he's gonna have a chance to sign in a pretty early round, I think. And so just how good a teammate he was. He took the ball each time we asked him to do it. He played shortstop. He hit in a 3-hole. There's not a lot of guys with his type of skill set out there, and all the accolades that have come across him, he deserves all of them. So we've got a few other guys I think have a chance to play baseball for a really long time. But a guy like Spencer, he's a winner. He's proven that this year. And whether he's a shortstop or a pitcher, I think he's going to make somebody a lot better.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Best of luck as you guys hit the ground running recruiting.
Thank you. Appreciate it.